Very nice to be here.
Nigeria is ranked 170 on the ease of doing business. Ghana is ranked 70. What is Nigeria doing wrong? What is Ghana doing right?
Well, I mean, I think it's more about taking the learning experiences from all investment promotion agencies on the continent, because the reality is that the fastest growing economies, the bulk of them are on this continent. I think some of the things that we've been able to do as a country, first of all, is to take a decision in respect of the importance of investments to support economic development. As an investment promotion center, we've looked at two things. First of all, what is that investment focused on a sector that is important for us in terms of development, number one. Number two, what tangible results are we looking for from that investment? So certainly we want the investor to be profitable. That's why we call ourselves the prosperity partner. But we also want the investments to translate into jobs, into the right sorts of skill sets that will support more economic growth. And that's the context in which we've taken a very targeted view of every single one of the indicators that will help to address our ease of doing business gaps and focus on working with various institutions and agencies that are responsible to ensure that we improve the process and create an experience for the investor that allows them to say, this is where I'd like to continue to invest, this is what I'd like to do to build a portfolio.
It's a win-win situation.
Absolutely, 100%, yes.
Okay, you have listened to the entourage of problems confronting the Nigerian business environment. How do you think we can begin to address it? What kind of solution would you provide for us to make a head start in the whole of these issues you have discussed about?
They're talking about specific steps now.
Right, there are a couple of things. First of all, in my final submissions, I indicated that there has to be a national decision, a strategic decision, that this is where we place investments, both domestic and international. And I'm always quick to say that the mindset must be that foreign direct investment is not more important than domestic investments. The two have to go together in order to create the sort of shift in development that we're looking for. So that's the first thing. Now, if that is the case, then you would want to prioritize which sectors are really important that will help us close our ease of doing business gaps. In Ghana, not unlike Nigeria and other countries, our focus has to be on energy, because without power and utilities, reliable utilities, the business community cannot function. We have to look at infrastructure, top priority. So our roads, our ports, our airport facilities. I mean, we know that our airports were built several decades ago to accommodate about 500,000 people. Now we're doing in excess of 2 million people per annum. And still growing very, very fast. So we have to look at the infrastructure space. That's why, for instance, legislatively, a decision has been taken to use some of the resources that are generated from our new oil and gas sector and reinvest in infrastructure. Again, if you look at things like prioritizing agriculture, one of the challenges Ghana has had, not unlike other African countries, is that we're known for producing, but processing and packaging, which is part of the other end of the value chain, has not been there. So we need to shift that tide and make it more interesting for the business community to invest in the rest of the value chain. So in prioritizing, that again gives you the leverage to say these are the things that will be impactful in improving the experience for the investor. Finally, I think it's also a question of collaboration across the different agencies and institutions. Because we have the distinct privilege of working under the office of the president, our mandate allows us to cut across different sectors. So when we're interacting with the ministries, when we're interacting with other government agencies, we know we have an executive mandate that will allow us to work in partnership with the agencies and institutions. So whether it is the registrar generals in registering companies, whether it is with the tax authorities, making sure that all companies that register with us as a center have their tax codes and are compliant with our tax legislation. It is that collaboration across board that I think becomes particularly important and perhaps would be very helpful for building the Nigerian experience. And finally, if I can just add that, again, I think we also need to look beyond our own individual borders. For me, there's tremendous strength in numbers. And when I talk about the case for investing in Ghana, I talk about it in the context of 360 million West African consumers, as opposed to 26 million Ghanaians. And so we look again, we have a long history as a country of exporting power, of sharing infrastructure within the sub-region. And I would want to propose that as Nigeria looks at evolving its legal and regulatory framework, it would consider that in the context of ECOWAS and what it means to operationalize the ECOWAS protocols, so that when the Ghanaian businessman or businesswoman wants to trade across borders, they are not delayed at the border beyond a certain point. That then creates the goodwill and the support for the kinds of investments that could also come from this huge Nigerian market. So my proposition would be to look at all of those holistically and make a determination of those things that are priority for the country and drive it very hard. You do need a central institution to push that process. In Ghana's case, it is the Investment Promotion Center. So if it is closing down on the number of days it takes to register a company, then we work very closely with the Registrar Generals. If it is the tax authorities and looking at incentives, our law already has a lot of input from the Finance Ministry and other tax revenue generating agencies. So that collaboration is especially important, and I'm very confident of Nigeria's capacity to do so.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.